Hey y'all, it's time for Rolling Dice and Taking Names. In this episode, the guys review Foundations of Metropolis, Forges of Ravenshire, Pagan, The Gang, and Flip 7. They also look back at the top games of 2002. And Tony tells why the game operation should have had a gallbladder.
Hello and welcome to episode number 332, Like a Surgeon. I'm Tony.
I'm Marty. Is this our first Weird Al song?
I don't think so. I could go to the list, but I did not research that. So
okay.
We should have used this one a long time ago because of our in-depth reviews where we dissect games and just how well we analyze the play mechanics and how well it meshes together. Just like a surgeon. We're in there for the very first time. I don't remember the lyrics to that one. Like a surgeon. Hey.
Oh, I have no idea. I don't listen to a lot of Weird Al.
Okay. I still want to see that one with who played him? Daniel Harry Potter.
Radcliffe. Mm-hmm.
I won't see that.
Radcliffe.
Daniel Radcliffe.
Radcliffe. Mm-hmm.
Hey, did you watch that one?
I have not.
Okay.
I liked Weird Al in the 80s, and it was kind of one of the things I just didn't keep up with his career. I know he's still huge. I know a lot of people still love him, and I appreciate the stuff he does. But to be honest with you, any of his parody songs today wouldn't make any sense to me because I wouldn't know the original song.
Completely agree with you. All right, so we're going to kick off this intro. For those of you that are on Discord, you found out that I am one organ less, and that is because on a Thursday, my gallbladder decided it was done. It was over. It had done its job for up to 50 plus years and decided, hey, I want out. I'm out of this. It had an exit strategy, and it took me out.
Yeah, so Thursday night is our typical game night. Yep. We had our games planned. Usually the week before, we decide, here's the stuff we want to play. Hey, can you read the rule books and get ready for it and everything like that. And Thursday morning, we have a little text group chat with our game group so we can keep updating everything. A text pops through from Tony's phone saying, hey, y'all, this is Donna. Let you know, Tony will not be there tonight. Nope. As he's currently in the emergency room, possibly going to need to have his gallbladder removed. And we said, how early can he have it removed? Yeah. Because game night doesn't start till like 6. So we just didn't know whether you could possibly, if I didn't know if it was a quick surgery, it's same day release and get over there in time.
Exactly. And I liked your comment back. Hey, we can bring the Qdobas.
That's right. We could bring the game night to you in, where'd you go? What hospital did you go to?
I was at Mercy.
Mercy.
Yeah, Mercy. I went to CMC and they looked at me and said, you're not life-threatening. What you going on here? We're going to transfer you to the low care hospital. I'm dead serious. So
wow.
In Charlotte, there's we have some great hospitals here, and CMC takes only the high cases, the gunshot wounds, the very life-threatening ones. Anybody else will be shipped over to Mercy, where I still great care, amazing service. But yeah, that was and mine wasn't as bad, but the doctor was telling me he had like over 30 patients that week. So everybody was losing. It's a common thing. And men over 50, over 750,000 gallbladder surgeries are done a year. That includes women, but men over 50, their gallbladder tends to die.
It wasn't gallstones? It was just...
The gallbladder died.
Oh.
I was dead inside.
Did this happen like Wednesday night or like Thursday morning when you went into...
Thursday morning at 12:30 a.m. Donna came in, a typical male thing. I took a little Tums. This thing will pass. It did not pass.
And just kept getting worse.
Yeah, and Donna's like, what? Okay, 2 choices: 911 or 911, or I take you to the hospital. You pick. You're going to a hospital. Okay, you can drive me.
Yeah. Don't want to have to pay for that ambulance cost if you don't need to.
That's right. You can drive me until they transfer you, and they had trouble finding your veins on the IV. And then they said, well, we got to take all these IVs out of you if you want her to drive you over to Mercy, or you can ride in an ambulance. Just put me in the freaking ambulance. I've already maxed the deductible. Unreal. So that was my fun. And now you, sir, you did not have any...
No, hold on. We glazed over this way too much. There was a lot more going on. So, I mean, we were getting pictures of you while you were out of it, which was funny because Don was sending us pictures when he was just totally out of it. So you were on a lot of pain medication before the surgery. Is that correct?
Yeah, I took some morphine and something that started with... The morphine made me very violently sick. So they switched me over to something else. It started with a big D, I forget, but that stuff made me feel really good. And the aspirin was not, 1,000 milligrams of Tylenol every 4 hours, and it was not keeping up with the pain.
Oh.
It was fun. It was a fun time.
Is it one of those things where you had it via IV and you could press a button and give yourself more?
I wish.
Or is it like pill?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they regulated that stuff, man. And it wasn't like it was, fentanyl where that's locked away in a cabinet nearby and things like that. It was just one of those things of, it was just like, hey, you get pain meds here, here, and here, and you can have the other pain meds in between. You need to tell us what you're feeling. And you and I are both the same. We have a high tolerance for pain. And I'm telling you, dude, I was up in the 8 and 9 range. Yeah, I was like, whoo,
it must
baby.
have been bad. And I think the crazy thing was you didn't get it removed on Thursday, correct? It wasn't until Friday. So you had to go through Thursday night.
Yeah, and that's the beautiful thing about pharmacy. Pharmaceuticals are a beautiful thing. So they just kept keeping the pain threshold around a 5. And the one nurse came in, she goes, Mr. McCree, you don't get your next pain meds until this time. So you let me know if you need the other stuff, but let's try to stay off of it as long as we can so we can get ready for surgery the next day. I said, yes, ma'am, I will do that. So, yep. Mm-hmm. Suffer through it, big boy. Rub some dirt on it.
And then, did you get to keep the gallbladder?
No, it got.
No.
I wanted to put it in an epoxy. It like sit it on.
Yes.
Yeah. No, they took it out. Supposedly they sent it off to pathology. They took it out in a little bag, pulled it through my belly button. And then that's just amazing. The weirdest thing is they blow you up like a balloon so they can move stuff around.
I did not know that.
I did not either. I know I'm fat, but I'm not that fat. Holy cow.
So Donna told us the type of surgery it was going to be. Was it
laparoscopic?
Laparoscopic. So I had to look it up. It's interesting. So they cut small holes in and give me if I'm correct. They put a camera in one and then work through the other holes. Is that how that works?
Yeah. So the camera, the suction, and then of course the blow you up, and then they put the big 2-inch, 3-inch one around your belly button. And that's where they pull everything out. They pull it out if they need to. And the problem is if it bursts, then they have to cut you really big, and then they have to suck out all the bad stuff, all the bile. So I highly not recommend this.
Well, it's nothing I can necessarily
and that's
avoid.
Just it.
It wasn't a diet thing, right? I mean,
no, it wasn't a diet. It just came on. It just said, I'm dead. I'm dead to you. And I was like, okay. I'm done.
Now, for people wondering, if you don't have a gallbladder, do you have to change your eating or lifestyle any?
Over time, I don't. Over the next 4 to 5 weeks, I just have to be careful of my fats and my spices, because if I'm not, then I will feel it. And that's, like today, I tried something that was kind of spicy, and I shouldn't have, but that's okay. I'll get there. So no queso at Qdoba's. None.
So you don't want to do like the hot chip challenge or anything like that right now? Okay,
no,
gotcha.
No heavy cream soups, none of that stuff. Got to watch the fat. So that's the fun stuff.
The fat. Hey, you probably should lose some weight then if you want to. Now's a good time if you want to start a diet.
Yeah, I lost probably 1 pound gallbladder, and we'll just keep going from there, man. I tell you. It's just, it was an experience, and there was nothing that told me it was going to happen. There was no warning signs, none of that. It just decided. Wednesday I was up in Raleigh, and it's funny how things work out. I was scheduled to go to Salt Lake City the following week. I can only imagine being there on a business trip and that attack happened. Weird city, not knowing the hospitals. And then here I am complaining about, am I in network? Am I out of network? You know me, I'm cheap.
I think everybody be doing that, in network, out network, that sort of thing.
Exactly. So, all right, enough gallbladder talk. Let's talk about
but you're better now. We got the game night last week, so that's good. You're on the mends. Is your pain pretty much gone, or are you still a little sore from the surgery?
A little sore, a little twingy here and there, probably around 90-95%. I think I overdid it this weekend, getting ready for Mega Moose Con. So I just need to, we'll need some help getting the stuff out of the trunk of the car when we move over there, because I can't lift 20 pounds. Got to stay less than 20 pounds. So there we go.
Gotcha.
So I could not have helped you on moving Travis. If you only had one kid, you would only have to move one kid. You have to have 3. So you had to move Travis.
Well, here's the thing is, Travis didn't have a lot to move. So it's really one thing in particular that I was just going to talk about. So yes, our middle son has moved out with his college buddy, kind of like you and I did. Vanessa was saying, wasn't this what you did with Tony and a friend of ours, Brian, said, yep, like 1 year after we graduated, we moved into an apartment together. And we were going to stay in the apartment for a while till one day Tony said, oh, by the way, I'm getting engaged. And that kind of messed up everything. That's a whole nother story. So anyway, Travis said, hey, we have the big 32-inch CRT TV downstairs. And he said, I'd like to take it to my apartment. I went, cool. This is one less thing downstairs I got to worry about because he's going to take his PlayStation 1, whatever. They do a lot of retro gaming. So they set this stuff up so they can play these old consoles. I said, yep, let's get rid of it. It has been many, many, many years since I've moved to CRT, my friend. Holy crap. I forgot how bad it was to move one of those beasts. Now, this is a 32-inch. So we got it out of the basement into the car, and then I went to his apartment. He has one long flight of stairs going down to his apartment. It's one of those things where the middle floor is like ground level, but it's built on an incline. So the bottom floor, actually, there's like a walkout thing. Anyway, got to go down a long flight of stairs. So we start trying to manipulate that thing down the stairs. Now, for you youngins who don't know, the cathode ray tube, the tube itself, is extremely heavy. And when you carry the TV, one person on one end and one on the other, one side of that's going to be extremely heavy. So your one arm is like trying to support all this weight because the center of gravity on this thing is like literally on the far edge, of the front of the TV. I messed up my back. We dropped it on the steps. We were trying to slide it down. It was brutal because we had carried it so far just to get it to that point. And then the front lip was plastic and it was digging into our hands. So I got towels to put underneath the TV as we lifted it. And it's like, we got it into its place. I said, that's it, Travis. I'm never moving this beast again. That was, and I told him, I said, I don't get it. We grew up with CRTs. We did this all the time, and I don't know how we did this because it was horrible. Thank you for flat screen TVs at a fraction of the weight.
And a CRT, I mean, it's not flat screen, but it is still flat, right? Or are you talking about, it's not the big long ones?
Yeah, the big old tube TVs like we used to watch.
Okay.
CRT TVs. So the ones that before the flat screen TVs, before LED, LCD, that. And it was the big 32-inch beast that we had. I'm sure, here's the thing. I'm sure we had that in our apartment.
Probably.
And it was like, hey, we carried it up, put it in there. We didn't think anything about it because we didn't know any better. Now I know better.
Jeez,
anyway,
dude.
That was just brutal. And here's the thing is, I've got one more CRT down there. They have two of these things. And I'm like, y'all, somebody else take this because I ain't doing this again.
And this is so that they can play the retro because like mine outside, my one that I got when I was 40, it has the inputs that I can hook up my Xbox 360 to. No other TV in my house has that capability unless I can figure out the way to do the combo because my Xbox did not have an HDMI. It only had
correct.
And so you'd have
component.
Yeah.
So anything pre-HDMI is probably going to go into a CRT, component inputs, the old classic video, the 3 cable thing, the yellow, red, and white. One was audio, one was, and then 2 audio left and right, then the video signal. So that's what the PlayStation has. But I'm like, Travis, you can buy converters now that will run to your... No, I want the original experience. Fine. I'll just get it out of the house. Get it out of the house. It's gone.
I was going to say, go to Sam's. Let's get the converter. You can probably buy it a lot cheaper for your back surgery.
Oh, yeah, 100%. In fact, I've got a GameCube here, and I found a really nice GameCube converter that I was thinking about hooking up to my TV upstairs.
There you go.
Because I got a bunch of GameCube games to play. So, but even the GameCube would have, used the old component and stuff like that, too. So anyway, that was the whole story, was just the CRT.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad you got it out and you didn't drop it like you did my washing machine when you helped me move. The things we did. Okay, it wasn't you, it was my dad. But anyway,
no. Did it break? I can't remember.
No, it did not break. It's better than, it's sad. That one's better than the one in my house now that's, only 5 years old.
Can we go into appliances?
No, we've done this. We've gone into appliances.
We've done this before. But no, it's just crazy that when you and I first got married, an appliance you'd buy one lasts 10 to 15 years. If you get 5 to 7 out of it, you're doing good now. Yeah. It has really changed. Anyway, old topic for an old episode.
Yeah. So since I was, surgery, Donna's feeling sad for me. She's going like that. Aw. She's like, okay, well, let's play a game. So I decided, woohoo, we're going to go play. So we, of course, played Carcassonne, and she whipped my butt. And the other game we got to play is one of the new ones from 25th Century called French Quarter, Roll and Write.
Yes, by who?
By this thing called Pinchback Riddle.
Yes.
Okay. And I just want to talk about, we've talked about Three Sisters. We talked about Motor City.
Yes.
So this is the last one in that series. I'm just going to keep this short. It's a roll and write. So everybody basically, what are some of the key differences? One of the biggest differences is that when you are marking dice on your sheet, they have to be within plus or minus 1 or equal to other dice numbers around it. So as you're moving around the French Quarter, you're moving and marking spots. And based on where you're mapping these buildings as a tourist, you're going to score points. That's how you're going to get points. Everything else is standard roll and write of maxing combos, of getting special bonuses when you go visit. I mean, you're doing Decatur Street, you got Bourbon Street, St. Anne, the Mystic and all that. Another thing that's on there, there's this one where if you party too much, you have negative effects, which I thought was hilarious.
By the way, just pause for a second. There's 8 deer in my yard right now. Out there eating and chilling.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. So that's, standard fare. And, at the end of the game, it was a very tight finish. I barely won. Seriously, I thought Donna was going to beat the pants the way she had the combos going on this. Mm-hmm. One of the best of the series. Donna and I both agreed that of the 3, and we've played them all, she ranked them French Quarter, Three Sisters, Motor City.
Oh, nice. No, then I'm very interested now because we all kind of ranked Three Sisters higher than Motor City. So I'm really curious about trying this one. And of course, Vanessa was interested in it because that's where her family was from. Mm-hmm. I guess it's just a map. Is that what makes it? The French Quarters, you're playing on a map, basically.
You're playing on a map,
Gotcha.
Yeah. But here's the biggest, let's see, I'm going to go ahead and say it. The graphic art sucks.
Okay. How do you mean? Do you mean on the
maps.
On the place where you're on the maps that you're marking? How? Because
it's too small. Yes, I'm old. All right. And I understand that, you got to get it inside a certain box. The colors of the roads were hard to see. And even Donna and I were both, Donna has her readers on. And she's got glasses, and she's like, I'm going to have to go get a better set so I can see it. And then I'm like, I can't see these. And we were having to flashlight the score sheet so we could see the different colors. Once you learn where all the streets are, like St. Pete runs this way, Bourbon Street runs this way, and it's based on colors. I don't know if they thought about the colors very well.
Colors of what?
The street names.
I'm looking at it. I'm looking. Oh, okay. I'm actually looking at a sheet right now. I see what you're saying. So like some of the, like Bourbon Street's like a pinkish fuchsia type color. Oh, there's one that's like a light brown one. There's a darker brown.
Yeah. And then they're very small print. I mean, I know I'm old. Other people would have picked up on it. That's on me. But it's just something that it was like, okay, maybe not all your audience has the great vision anymore,
Right.
That took away from the game. All right.
Okay.
But we love the game.
So I wonder if there's anybody, I wonder if on BGG, sometimes they'll like give you new sheets and they'll blow them up a little bit and print them out yourself. I am looking at it. It looks like a square, a block, a city block of the map is about the same size as the die that you used. And it looks like there's small symbols inside that block.
Yes.
That you have to try to read. Okay.
Yeah. Then those symbols are marked on the activity list. So like there's a trumpet, a sousaphone, I think it's a sousaphone, a whole bunch of little gold things that are inside the buildings. So when your marker moves to that block where you can then map it, then you mark that on your activity sheet. And we were like, okay, well, that's really small. I understand that they needed to keep it print inside the box. And graphically, when I had my readers on, I could make it out. And this is on me. I can't see as well as I used to, so I know that, so I have to. But I'm telling you, the colors were very hard to distinguish on this thing. And I think that's what took away from it. But it's still the best of the 3, in our opinion.
Then I'm definitely interested in trying it. And actually, right now on BGG, there is a high contrast French Quarter Sheet 1 and Sheet 2
Ooh.
that prints out at the same size as the pads, but can be set to print at full page. So it sounds like that's probably what you, and then just, is it one of those you can laminate and just use an erasable marker and use over and over? Okay.
Yeah, that's what I'll probably do. I'll go look and draw that one, download that one and see about pulling that in and having that, because that, like I said, the negative is that it's nothing to do with the gameplay, and
Sure.
Others it won't. But so, yeah, I was very pleased. Well, like I said, the whole mechanism of moving about and having the restriction of how to map the die, that was something I really enjoyed. You have these in other roll and writes, but I like how they put it in this game. So that is French Quarter from 25th Century.
And it's Pinchback, Riddle, and Hill. I checked. Adam Hill also worked on it too.
Yep.
As in our previous episodes, we've been going year by year, starting at 2000, looking at the top 9 games each year, and we're up to year 2002. And Tony, I presented to you in our show notes the top 9 games of the year. These aren't in any order. These are the top 9. Let's just say 2002 was a pretty freaking good year.
Yeah, it was.
For games. Let's look at the top 9 games that are listed. There's Lord of the Rings: The Confrontation, which is a Reiner Knizia game. Star Wars Epic Duels game. We'll come back to that one. Pirates Cove, Hammer of the Scots, Sid Meier's Civilization the board game, Mexica, Puerto Rico, Bang, and Age of Steam. Now, in those 9, which is your top one? I have a guess which one it would be, and I have a guess which one your number 2 would be. But
so when you up there, I'm like, okay, all right. My number 1, of course, is Puerto Rico. And what I find very interesting is I have Hammer of the Scots still sitting on the shelf to play.
Okay, this is interesting because that's cool to know. It's
I think I have Hammer of the Scots.
This.
Hold on.
So this is a block game, and it's based on
I'm thinking
William Wallace.
Gotcha. No, I always wanted to get that one. That's right. And I did not get that one.
So there's a second edition to this. Maybe we ought to pick it up sometime. It is a longer game. It's one of those 2-player games, but theme-wise looks cool. So anyway.
Play the precursor to Mexica, Tikal. So I never got to play that. I know my son-in-law has Pirates Cove, and he's always wants me to teach him how to play that. Yeah.
Do you know what that is? It looked cool, but I don't know what type of game it is.
I don't. I read the rules over a year ago, and it seemed like I don't want to say a pick up and deliver game. It may be.
Well, let's look at what the BGG says. It's a dice rolling, hand management, pick up and deliver, simultaneous action selection.
There we go. So I'm excited to play that one if we ever get a chance. And I think he's missing one component of it, so we have to make that up. And so, yeah, Puerto Rico's number 1. And of all these, let's see, Epic Duels, Lord of the Rings, and Hammer of the Scots, Civilization. Have we ever played that?
So I was interested in this. So Sid Meier's Civilization, the board game, I thought, I've got that. I don't. There was 2 versions. There was one FFG released, named the same, but it's different. So I've got that one. I never played this one. That Civilization board game is one of those I'll never get rid of because it'll never be reprinted. But it's a really good Civ-style game. We've played Age of Steam. We really enjoyed that. I've played Bang. I've done that one before. Mm-hmm. Yep. Star Wars Epic Duels game. Okay, for those who don't know, that is what the Restoration game Unmatched is based off of. Yeah, that's right. Because Rob Davio worked on Star Wars Epic Duels. They said, hey, that mechanism was kind of fun. What can we tweak it, do, and bring it up to current standards? And that's where Unmatched comes from.
That Rob Davio, he does everything.
And that Reiner Knizia guy is like in every year. And it's always like a Lord of the Rings game. Guy did a lot of Lord of the Rings games. So anyway, great year. 2002. I didn't realize Puerto Rico was 2002. For some reason, I thought it was like 2006, 2007. So
okay.
But yeah, and our Discord channel, of those 9, let us know, what are your favorite games? Which of those would you like to try sometime? I have a feeling as we go from year to year now, we're going to see more and more ones that we've actually played because we're getting into those years where we're actually getting more active into the hobby itself. If you missed the Gametoppers 4.5 Kickstarter, well, never too late because you can go over there and you can late pledge. You still have some products out there ready to go. Should be shipping towards the end of the year. And one of the things that we're excited about is terrain packs. And if you go over to the website Gametoppersllc.com, you can actually have a chance to enter to win all 7 terrain packs. Woo! You know what the value of that is, Tony? $350. That's what the value of that is. And there's multiple ways to enter, like viewing the Kickstarter where you can late pledge and you can see some of their social media sites. There's just multiple ways to enter, but that's a good way to have a chance to get those terrain packs. In fact, I'm looking at possibly getting some of those for my sons because they could use those for their RPGs. They're into Warhammer, so they can use it for that, for setting up terrain and everything like that. I think it's a great idea. These are little neoprene mats that's supposed to represent the terrain on the board, but they're easy to store away, so they're not really big, like big old buildings or anything like that. And when you're limited on room, that's a great way to do that. He also has his regular game toppers, and now he has leg kits. I love the idea of leg kits. Instead of putting a topper on top of an existing table, just buy the stinking leg kit and just attach the actual legs to it. Then boom, you just got a full function table right there, baby.
That's it. That's what you need to do. Now, go back to the mats. Love the mats. We cannot sing our praises on these mats. And I saw out where Berkey...
We cannot sing. You're right. We cannot sing our praises.
I cannot. I screwed that up, but we're just going to move right along here. I saw a picture where he had that special mat that you could use for Star Wars Unlimited, your various card games.
I want that. That looked
amazing. That looks amazing. So when you late pledge that, I may have to get you to go ahead and take care of that. So that looked really good. Sorry for interjecting there, but yeah, go over there. Make sure you go to go to his website, but better yet, just type into your search engine Gametoppers 4.5 Kickstarter. It'll take you straight to the late pledge page. Easy to find. Go over there, get you a late pledge in. If you missed the 4.5, you won't be sorry with any of Berkey's products. You are getting quality stuff.
And he's already teased me what's coming in 5.0, so stay tuned.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
All right, while we were at Gen Con, we got a promo called Flip 7, designed by Eric Olson from the OP Games. And this is a push your luck card game. Okay, let me be careful here, because when I tried to explain this to someone, they immediately thought, I said, it's blackjack. Hit me. They're like, so I'm trying to score 21. Okay, forget I even said that. No.
Well, I understand that. I understand that. I mean, it's kind of along the same thing as like your goal is to get out as many different cards as you can of different values. Because if you can get 7 of those, congratulations, you did it. But if you ever flip a card that matches one that you've already played, boom, you basically busted. I say that in quotes.
Yeah, busted. And there's 12, 12s, 11, 11s, 10s, 10s, 9s, 9s. You get the drift as you go down to 1, 1. And there's additional cards in there, bonus cards that add to your score, as well as a multiplier, which can drastically change the end of the game like it did for us, where suddenly somebody like me who was way behind suddenly got a ×2, and I had 7 cards, and it was just chaos. Because one rule in this is very important. Do not shuffle the cards you've already played back in. You keep going through the deck until you reseed everything, until you don't have any other cards. And that's it. It's a simple, fast game. Plays in under 20 minutes. Hey, hit me. Everybody's like, well, this sounds boring. Okay, I give you that. But you need to just play it because it's the tension.
It's the push your luck tension. Yeah, basically, how many cards am I going to flip before I feel safe? And lots of times you'll play it safe, right? Let's say you got a decent lead, you're not going to push your luck. But Tony, in Tony's case, when he was way behind, his only choice was to play a little more risky and keep pushing and hopefully come out on top, which you eventually did.
Yeah. And there's some action cards as well in there, like freeze, where you can freeze your opponent from taking another card.
That pissed me off. That got stuck on me a few times.
Or flip 3, where you suddenly get 3 more cards. Hey, welcome to the club. And you're going
brutal.
So this is a fairly straightforward game coming to mass market from the OP Games. I mean, Flip 7. I liked it. It was fun. It's a quick, easy game for me to teach to a lot of people.
One thing I do like too, unlike blackjack, you don't resolve all of one person before you move on. It's basically I flip a card to you, then to the next person, then to the next person. And at any point in time, they could just bank what they got. So it also just keeps the game moving too.
Yeah. And you can, of course, house rule anything you want to do. But that's Flip 7 from the OP Games, designed by Eric Olsen when it comes out. If you need that quick hitter, be sure to check it out.
5-minute initiative is complete.
A couple years ago, Arcane Wonders had a huge Kickstarter called Foundations of Rome. This is by a good friend of the show, Emerson Matsushi, who we used to hang out with and play a lot of his games. I hadn't seen Emerson in forever.
I know.
I miss Emerson. He was a great guy.
Is he dead?
No, he's still. That did sound bad. He is a great. I assume he still is a great guy. But he came out with so many games that we loved over the years. So when Foundations of Rome came out, I was like, oh, really cool. But the thing is, with Foundations of Rome, it was this big beast of a box with all these plastic pieces and upgrades of all these buildings and everything. I thought, that looks really cool. But for a game that plays in like 60 minutes, I don't know if the shelf space is going to be one of those things that I'm going to have to deal with for like a game I want to be quick and easy game. I got to play Foundations of Rome. I enjoyed it. And I thought, oh, I wish there was a better, easier way to play it. Well, now you can, because Arcane Wonders is releasing Foundations of Metropolis. This is a game that instead of these big old nice buildings, instead, they're just little cardboard pieces that you're going to put down in your tableau and use that, and nice player boards that you're going to have, but come in at a much cheaper cost. And you may be thinking, well, what's the difference between the two? Actually, nothing. The base games play exactly the same. There are some modules that's in Foundations of Rome that's not in this, but if you want just to experience the gameplay of Foundations of Rome at a much cheaper entry point and a lot smaller shelf storage space, then Foundations of Metropolis is going to be the way to go.
Did I play Foundations of Rome?
I don't know if you did. I played it at a convention.
Yeah, I don't know if we've ever had an opportunity. Foundations of Rome. Yeah. Oh man, I never got to play Foundation. That does look cool.
It is cool, and they're still producing it, and you can still buy it. Every so often they'll come out with versions of it that you can buy, but no, it's a cool looking game.
Yeah, look at that. Wow. Okay. And the buildings take up like the same areas and stuff, just like the other one.
Yeah.
Yep, exact same thing. Other than these really, yeah, I can see that. I can see where that would be fun. That the board presence. Look out! We got board presence going on. Since it's the same game, though, this is a great family game, family weight game.
Yes. So, let's explain what it is for those who haven't played. So, you're going to have a deck of deed cards that correspond to certain sections of the board. And the board is laid out like A through a certain letter. Depending on the number of players will determine how big of a square that you're going to use. You have rows of letters and columns of numbers. So you have these nice little intersection points, A1, B3, H4, etc. You have a deed card representing each one of those. At the very beginning of the game, everybody's going to be dealt 6 of those cards, and you're going to take your marker and mark on the board the deed cards that you own, or the spaces that you own represented by the deed cards. The goal of the games over the course of the game is everybody has the exact same buildings on their board of different shapes. Some are 1 square, 2 by 1, 2 by 2, etc. And you're trying to collect these deed cards and get your markers out on the board such that you can replace your markers with one of those little cardboard buildings. And those buildings are going to generate points depending on the type of buildings, etc. So during your turn, you're either going to be drafting one of those deed cards that's out in the middle of the table, or you're going to be placing a building on the board.
Yep, that's what I did. And it was a very quick teach. Okay, so there's a positive for it, right?
Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this was such a hot game. So how do you play? You draft a deed. What I do then, you just mark it on the board that you own that space. Mm-hmm. Oh, okay. And if you get the deeds to match the shape of a building that's on your board, you can put that building on the board.
You sure can. And hey, you're out of money to get more deeds? Go get you some money based on if a base of $5 plus any of the other buildings that provide you income. There you go. Pretty straightforward. Oh, but what's that special rule about replacing buildings? That's a special rule. You can place a one block building out there for the deed because, hey, you don't have the deed next to you yet. It hasn't come up yet. No one else is battling for it. So, okay, that's pretty cool. Oh, wait, there's that deed and I can buy it. Now I got 2 blocks, but I got a building sitting right there. Well, guess what? You may replace it with a 2-space building. You always have to build up. There's where the strategy comes in saying, okay, I need to maneuver around when do I need to be getting money versus when do I need to be doing this other track called population and scoring points there. you're never locked out of just having your one building. You have that opportunity, if the deeds come up, to be able to grow your buildings as long as you don't get landlocked by other people. And interaction with other people comes into play, because Marty may have built a commercial building and I have a building that scores me points if there's a commercial building near me. All this comes into play. This is a strategy of these games.
Everybody has 8 markers on their board that they can use to mark the blocks that they own on the main board. And once you have all those out on the board, you're going to have to start placing buildings. So you can't just hoard up a bunch of deeds and not place any buildings out on the board, because once you place a building, you'll get those markers back to your board, which you think you can use again for drafting later. Now, when I mention drafting, it's not just you grab one for free. You have to pay coins in order to get those buildings. And like in a lot of drafting, the one on the far left is going to be the cheapest. The one on the far right is the most expensive. When one is purchased, they will slide to the left. So when a new building comes out, it's going to be the most expensive. Our new deed comes out, it's going to be the most expensive, and go down from there. But there is a lot of heavy player interaction and fighting for deeds. Tony, if I see that you're one away from doing a 2x2 space and get your largest building on the board, do I hate draft that deed from you? I might, if it's cheap, because eventually you're going to put something there, and I could probably put a small one block building there that I might score points off of, depending on what's adjacent to me.
Exactly. And that's when, okay, well, let's let him have that, put that big building, and I've got all these deeds around you. I'm going to score points off of you, you know? Mm-hmm. You take that one big building, so what? I can benefit from that. We use the term, you may need to hate draft every once in a while, but sometimes you may want to say, hey, dude, come on, you know, and then you don't do what I want you to do. Now, that's when there may be some hate. Or you replace a building. I put down a scoring building, and you replace a building and change the type of building. You rezoned it, and that pissed me off. I was like, you can't, don't rezone.
So some buildings are commercial, which will generate money. Some are residential, which will provide population. And when you put a building on the board that has population, there's a tracker on the scoring board that indicates how much population do you have, which is also going to help in scoring at the end of the years as you're playing over 3 years. So if I put up a residential spot and Tony puts down one of these things and say, hey, I'm going to score points based to how many residential spots I'm next to, I could upsize that building and build something bigger that's no longer residential. Maybe it's commercial. And the beauty of commercial is because at the end of the year, you're always going to get the number of commercial buildings that you have on the that you built already. So having commercial buildings built will generate additional income at the end of each of the 3 years.
So one of the things that kind of rubbed me the wrong way in this game is at the end of each round, you know, when's the round in is when all the deed cards are selected. Okay.
Yep.
And then you go into the population scoring. But the person who took the last deed, the next person to their left gets first player token. So guys, what's going to keep us all from sitting here and gaining money after money after money after money? You know, there was no mechanism, and maybe we missed it, that said, okay, after 3 times everybody gets money, ends. No, the last deed has to be pulled. Eventually someone's going to stop it, but I'm going to want you to do it so I can get the first shot next time. But you decide not to do it. And that kind of felt off to me.
And you just mentioned what the third action was. Draft a deed, build a building, or collect money. You always get 5 plus the commercial buildings. So we checked the rules. We thought, is there some other way to trigger? It's not that last deed has to be taken.
Because I was like, man, this just seems off. But you're going to want to do that, you know, eventually.
I guess, unless you realize you're going to be last in the next round when those brand new deeds pop up.
Mm-hmm. And I really want, if that one deed that I need comes up and someone drafts it, then I'm going to be messed up. So yeah, I can see that. I did like the fact that by taking that last deed, you took the last deed. So the bonus is you got the last deed and you get one more action. Everybody else after you only gets 1. So you at least get to take one more thing for doing that, because you're going to be last in the next round. So you at least get 2. So that is that incentive to buy that last deed. I think it's what the whole purpose of it was.
Right. Also, let's talk about production real quick. I mean, we know Foundations Rome had incredible production with the plastic piece and everything. The player boards are double layered, which is nice because everybody's going to have the exact same buildings that are on their player board. And you're actually going to store it that way. You put all your buildings back on your board, and they give you this nice tray to stack all the buildings, and then there's a cover on the tray. So when you're ready to play, you literally just hand everybody their player board. It's already pre-populated with the buildings. Shuffle the deed deck, split up into try to 3 equal piles, start playing. It's really that quick. So the production is really nice for storage and everything. So it's not like you're giving up a lot. You don't have the plastic anymore. But what you're giving up is having to pay a lot of money because on Miniature Market, this thing is only $39.99. So $40 is a solid cost for a family game with this nice production on it that just plays in just 1 hour. It's a fast game. We actually played in quicker than an hour.
Oh, yeah. I don't know if I played it well by taking it that quick, but hey, that's on me. But yeah, quick. And I think if you're interested in this, maybe that's the one to go. You don't need the table present. In and out, quick setup, easy setup. Gotta love that about any type of game.
Yeah, that's right. So if you want something that does easy to learn, family friendly, but does have some player interaction, and it requires some long-term planning, and you missed Foundations of Rome, where it's like it's a little too rich for your blood, then check out Foundations of Metropolis from Arcane Wonders.
Head over to shopportalgames.com and then click on the Essen Spiel 2024 banner so that you get to see what all is coming to the big convention. Ignacie's got some new games that are going to be there. The biggest one everybody's been talking about, we talked about it all last year and because of the Kickstarter, and that is Thorgal. That's right, that should be released at Essen. So you can go out there to Shop Portal Games. Well, you're like, Tony, I'm not going to be at Essen. Okay, just chill for a second. It's okay. All you've got to do is add it to your cart at shopportalgames.com and it will be shipped to you when it's released. You know it's going to be at Essen. If you're going to Essen, go ahead and add it to your cart and they'll have a pickup for you and they'll hold it till Saturday. So be sure to get by the booth before then. So that's Thorgal, and that includes the promo box, the character set. Hey, big seller at Gen Con, AI Space Puzzle. If you have not picked that up, you can go ahead and put that in the cart, and it'll be shipping right now. The Imperial Miners expansion, Aztecs versus Weirdlings. That's going to be at Essen. Also go ahead and add that if you enjoy Imperial Miners. Then let's not forget about Resurgence. That's going to be out. Desert Tribes, an expansion to the Neuroshima Hex 3.0. Desert Tribes is going to be, I can't wait to give that a try, see what that's all about. And something that I completely missed, that I didn't know the man was writing, Board Games That Tell Stories, Volume 3. Ignacio, not only does he design great games, he writes books. He's an author. He's a savant. So head over to shopportalgames.com, get those pre-orders in. After Essen, games will be out for delivery in no time.
5-minute initiative begins in 3, 2, 1.
At Gen Con, we went to Cosmo's booth. We got to do a demo of a card game called The Gang. This is from designer John Cooper and Corey Heath. Basically, we're playing poker. Each of us are playing hands of poker. But our goal is to try to get our hands ranked among each other correctly by the very end.
And it's Texas Hold'em. Make sure you say it's Texas Hold'em.
I was getting ready to say you play Texas Hold'em style. Yeah, basically where you're dealt a few cards and then you're adding cards every round. But at certain points during each round, as you go through the river and the turn and all that stuff, you're going to pause. And each of you are going to claim how you think you're ranking among other players. You do see some cards that have flipped out in the middle of the table, so you know what's there. And it's like, wow, I've got a really stinky hand so far, so I'm going to claim the poker chip that has just like one little dot on it. Tony, you may go, geesh, I'm already staring at a flush right now, so I'm going to grab the poker chip that has a 4 for playing a 4-player game. And then somebody else will grab the 2 and the 3. So they're going to flip out another card, and we're going to have another set of chips 1 through 4 ranked. The goal is when everything has been dealt and we reveal the cards, we rank all the played hands in front of us, and hopefully the person who has the best hand has the number 4 chip, and the person who has the worst hand has the number 1 chip. And if you do, you win.
Woohoo!
I dug this. I like this. I don't know. I just thought it was fun.
See, one of the things I don't like about poker is, I mean, there's a lot of strategy to poker from, the bluffing and things. And in this game, you're taking it out. Okay?
Agreed.
All right. There's no bluffing to this. It's just, hey, I've got the number 1 chip because I have the worst. Well, then I take it from you because, no, actually, I have the worst, but you don't know. The very first hand is not that you don't know a lot. You just get a general idea of it based on how it's not until you later. So, I mean, so you're able to rob the bank 3 times, you win. People were comparing it to, hey, this is poker version of The Crew. Instead of trick taking, you're trying to do poker.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of people really like, poker. Obviously, it's Texas Hold'em is huge. So they would probably, enjoy this. I like that more than I like trick taking game. And I think that's what this game brings for that void. If you don't like trick taking games, you don't understand about, going short on something or bleeding cards out. That's not what this is. It's kind of like, well, wow, you took the 4, but man, I've really got a flush. I need to take that. Now, if you add in the other variants, which I've done, if you fail, you can enhance, which makes it easier. Or if you complete, then they'll put in cards like, hey, this card, this round, you don't get to take the chip. You have to go immediately to the second round. So you have less knowledge, which may make you fail sooner. And I will say for this game, I think it will definitely play much better with the 5 and 6 count than with a 4, 3. Yeah, don't even go there, in my opinion.
Because it's a lot easier with that fewer count of getting it right. I mean, you're right. The part of the poker is the betting and the bluffing. None of that really exists at this point. It's just you can steal. I don't think you mentioned, but we just want to emphasize that. Let's say I take, I've got a pair. So I'm going to take, I'm going to take the best chip, and somebody else may have a pair of aces, and they could steal it from me. It's like, even though you may have a pair, you don't have a pair of aces probably. Mm-hmm. So there is that kind of grabbing and stealing as you go, which can get a little chaotic, and just kind of at some point in time, I just got to say, stop, just leave it how it is and just go from there. It's a fast game. It's cheap. You can get it on pre-order right now from Miniature Mark. It's only $10.99. So it's a really cheap game. If you already know the rules of Texas Hold'em and you know how to read poker hands, you could play this game like right out of the box with like a 30-second teach and you're up and running sort of deal.
Yeah, and that's where it beats The Crew. The Crew, you're having to read these missions, you're having to set all this up. Fast game. I'll give it that. I'll give it kudos for that, for accomplishing exactly what it needed to do for cooperative. And I do like where they add in the extra elements as you fail, or you can set harder levels like, hey, you can only fail twice. You can modify this however you want.
So that is The Gang from Cosmos and designers John Cooper and Corey Heath.
5-minute initiative is complete.
One of the hot games at Capstone's booth at Gen Con was a game called Pagan, Fate of Roanoke. This is from designer Casper Christensen and Kari Storgard. This is a 2-player game that the playing time on BGG says 30 to 60 minutes. We'll get into that in a second, but this is a 2-player asymmetric game where the theme of the game is one person plays as the witch and one person plays as the witch hunter. There are villagers, and in that village, the witch has tagged one of these people that he's going to use for a ritual. The hunter is trying to determine which one of those villagers is the one that's been tagged for the ritual and try to point them out and eliminate them, or excuse all the other villagers from there, leaving the only one left, and that way he wins the game. So the goal of the hunter is expose the witch. The goal of the witch themselves is to actually perform a ritual on that individual villager. But Tony, what's so cool about this is that each side plays totally different. They have their own types of actions that they take. They have their own decks of cards. They have their different ways to play. And as soon as I played it for the first time, it immediately gave me feelings of Netrunner.
Why was that? Was it because of the bluffing mechanic? You weren't trying to
100%.
run. Was it? Yeah, because you weren't trying to run ice.
Well, no, it's the bluffing mechanic.
I know.
That with the corporation, you have agendas that are hidden.
Mm-hmm.
and the runner's trying to find them. Here, you have the witch who is trying to hide the villager from the witch hunter and keep them from finding it until they can perform the ritual.
Right. I don't know. Or did you want to go over all those various villagers and what their actions? So this really kind of has a feeling of a worker placement game, right? Because each of you has 3 action tokens, and on your turn, you're going to take one of your actions, and typically it's going to be placed on a villager. When you place it on a villager, it will probably either allow you to play a card, draw a card, or get resources, because when you play a card, it's going to cost you resources. That's the basic things you get to do with your action tokens. And the different types of cards that you can play are different between each side. If you're the hunter, you can put allies into play, which give you ongoing abilities. You could put new locations into play, which gives you a new spot for your action token to do, which is like a new place for your worker to go. If you're playing as the witch, there are potions that you can use to, once you get enough of a certain type of token on them, you'll be able to use that potion and makes it for a powerful ability. Or they're familiars, because there's one special token that the witch has is a familiar token, and when they use it, they get to activate one of the powers on the familiar that they've put into play. Right. One of the things, when you place these workers on these cards, you then get to place, I believe it was clues or secrets.
It depends on which side it is. You get to distribute these tokens between the villagers. One of them, for the hunter side, is used for trying to earn tokens to make guesses on possibly who the witch is. Meanwhile, the witch is trying to get these tokens out there, and once he gets enough of a certain type of token on a particular village member, they can perform this ritual. So obviously, the witch does not want to keep going to the same villager over and over and dumping a bunch of tokens on them, because then the hunter knows, well, I know that's obviously who you're going after. So you as the witch, I'm saying you because the last time that's how I played it, you want to distribute these tokens along the different villagers, so I really have no clue who the real one is.
That's right. So as the hunter or the witch, these clues and secrets are help guiding the other player. There's the bluffing. Is he trying to bluff me over there, or what are you doing? Now, on the hunter side, it's not so straightforward. It's helping you to build up and convert to another token that gives you the ability to interrogate a deck to find out who exactly is not the witch.
Yeah, it's an evidence token.
Evidence.
Yeah, once I get 3 clues out there, when I go to that villager, I get an evidence token. One of the actions on my turn is I can place a token on my action token on a spot to interrogate. I can spend 3 of these evidence, and there's a deck off to the side that represents one of each of the villager. At the beginning of the game, the witch drew one of those villagers, so he would know which one he's working with. I get to draw from the top of the deck, so then I know who it's not. The quicker I go through that deck, it narrows it down to who it is that I know that the witch is going after.
And it also eliminates people to allow you to say, okay, all right, I need to get over there and be able to clear off the secrets that the witches are putting on that they're going to be converting, so that they can perform the ritual. On the hunter side, I felt like that was the key, is how do I try to keep you from getting all the various secrets that are out there, and also make putting out, which you did very well in our last game, to putting out cards that restrict my ability to gain resources or to put out tokens. All this is going on. As the witch, I'm sitting here thinking, I got to do a lot of misdirection here. But man, I really need those resources. I need that money so I can play cards. Oh, but dude, if I go there, I'm not putting enough secrets on the actual witch because that's the wrong color. You know,
there's 3 different colors of villagers. And when you go to a villager, there's 3 of each one, and each of the villagers will allow you to distribute tokens on one of the other 3 colors, or one of the 3 colors. So when you go there, one of the first actions you do is, hey, you get to distribute a token to, let's say this villager is a red one, but you get to distribute to a blue one, or it could have been a green one, or it could have been a red one. So that's how you actually distribute the tokens. And then you get to take the action that's actually on that villager. Now, you're talking about me messing with you as the hunter. There's these investigation cards that I can put and attach to a villager, which is always bad for you, but some of the investigation tokens are good for me. Like one of the bad ones for you was, if you want to go to this villager, you got to assign 2 of your tokens to it. Or it could just be, yeah, the text of this villager is blank for you.
Yeah, that sucked. I was not happy about that.
But you have something to hurt me, right? You have these things called enchantment cards. There's 3 slots for them. And when you put them out there, it affects everything. Like one of them I've seen a lot was when I place an action token, it must be adjacent to one of my other action tokens. So while the card may affect, from the hunter side, affect just one villager, the cards that the witch plays affects the entire game board for the hunters. That's how they kind of balance it out.
Right. So all in all, I mean, I like the bluffing of this game. I felt like even though when we played it and I did pull out a win, which I still don't know how I did that, it's not important.
You won twice.
Well, the one time we played the simple version, so I don't consider that a win. Short game, yeah, I don't consider that a win. Asterisk, big asterisk on that. But, you know, it's at times it was like, oh my God, my card draw was just not working for me. I got lucky. And that's something you got to get used to in these games when you're playing these various card games that you're like, okay, sometimes it was like Marty could do everything to the village to hurt me. And I was not getting anything that was helping me along. I just happened to get very lucky, you know, and that happens in these games.
I don't know that it was luck because you strategically played to where for me to be able to remove your secret or favor tokens, I have to have 3 clues sitting at that villager. When you do that, I can take an action to remove stuff that you've placed there. It just so happened that I did not have, you were removing clues from a villager. That's the one I needed to get some on, and you played it well to where it's like, you don't have enough actions to get over to this villager in time to get enough clues on it, and you had one of your worker tokens on there. You can't go to a villager if somebody else has a token on there. There's an action you can take to remove that token, but that's one of your 3 actions that you're taking in order to pull that off. So you played a good game the other night where it's like, GG, I can't stop you from doing the ritual.
Freaking blind squirrels, what happened there? I tell you what, that's what happened. I know.
I've played this game about 4 times and I freaking love it. And it's one of those things, the more you play, the deeper it gets because you start understanding what cards are going to be coming up and you want to play both sides equally. I liked it so much that I went out and I purchased the neoprene game mat plus the upgraded tokens. Now, there are nice cardboard player boards that come in the box, which are nice and everything, but by me getting the mat and the tokens, now it's just like a regular card game. I throw the cards in a deck box with my tokens, and then I treat it just like Star Wars Unlimited at that point. And what I love about this is expansions are coming out. They're going to add new cards for the hunter, new cards for the witch. They're going to add new villagers, and so there's a deck building mechanic. So you're going to be able to customize your witch or your hunter deck and make it how you want. So maybe you want to focus on familiars or, you know, try to get some combo building or an engine building going on within your deck. And that's going to be coming out over time. And I think the first one's come out in October. So I'm super interested in getting those.
Yeah. I'm sitting here online. Yeah. Like I don't know if it's Fate of, Pagan Beyond the Palisades. I mean, there are times it introduces a new mechanism, which, you know, that's one of the cool things about expansions. Regardless of which one's coming out, there will be a new type expansion possibly introduced in the game. Deck building's always fun to see which way you can manipulate. Now, so when the villagers come out, and if you get the expansion, who controls the villagers that are coming? Does it just, we're just going to play with this expansion in villagers and then mix the cards?
I'm not sure how that's going to work. I don't know if there is going to be some sort of mixing and matching of villagers, or it's like, you know, use these, you always have to use these 9 villagers or anything together. I was looking through some of the expansions. Most of them are just adding new witch and hunter cards. There's a new expansion coming out which introduces something called Gloom, because the tokens I got have something called Gloom tokens in them. In looking at the deck building here, it's literally you just got to have 50 cards with the restriction of can't have more than 2 copies of each card, and you must have at least 10 cards of each card type. There's 4 different card types for each side, so you have 40 cards, and then you can tweak it from there with whatever you want it to do. So again, it feels, it's like one of those things like, man, I want the feeling of Netrunner again. I think that's going to be the closest thing that gets me to that. But then it adds in this whole worker placement type thing too, which Netrunner didn't have. You got 3 actions on your turn. That's all you're going to get to do. Well, I know, never mind. Netrunner had a limited number of actions too on your turn too. So that was the same too.
So for me, it was a very enjoyable game. I like the bluffing mechanic of it. I'm looking forward to always deck building. So, it's a good break from Star Wars Unlimited.
It's different than that for sure. But here's the thing is, and here's the big negative for me, is that the first couple of games I played took 90 minutes. They were just taking a long time. And for me, when I want to sit down and play a 2-player card game like this, I want this thing to be 60 minutes or less. That's what I was kind of frustrated with. I wanted this to be a lunch game, and I can't always guarantee it's going to be one. Now, maybe just because me and the guy my coworker was playing with just didn't get the flow and everything. But Tony, the last game that you and I played, we were done in 60 minutes. Mm-hmm. Now, it could be just because you were just an amazing player and you knocked it out. But we did get done in 60 minutes. So that's why this thing says 30 to 60. I think 30's pushing it. I think somebody's got to be playing back. Because there's one thing I like about this too, there's a whole momentum thing. Early on, you feel like the hunter knows nothing. And all the momentum is maybe on the witch. Hey, if I can quickly get enough stuff on this one person to do the ritual, I'm clear. But as the game goes on and the hunter starts drawing through that deck of villagers, now eliminating which one he knows it's not, then it just makes it easier for him to possibly win in the long run. So I will be picking up expansions. I'm enjoying this. I understand why I was hot at Gen Con. This is Pagan, Fate of Roanoke from Capstone Games. Essen is coming up. So just like before Gen Con, we mentioned, you can start pre-ordering stuff that's from Gen Con. Well, you can start pre-ordering stuff that's coming out in Essen, and Miniature Market has got you all set up. I know we hadn't talked about this in a while, but you do know that you can, when you go and order something, that you can put it on hold and then add some other stuff to it. And then once you break the free shipping mark of $100, you can say, release it, and it'll be sent to you automatically. I've been using a lot of Miniature Market recently. I've been wanting to buy some stuff like binders and stuff for Star Wars Unlimited. Been going out there and buying them. I didn't really worry about the free shipping. The reason why is because just the flat shipping $6.99, which really ain't that bad. So I'll throw a couple things in there. And I thought, well, that's pretty good. And I actually get a better deal on there for some games and products than I actually do on Amazon, even though the shipping's free over there. So it's actually better for me to get it from Miniature Market. Don't forget, we do have an affiliate link over on our website at rolldicetakenames.com. If you use that link, it helps us track visits you guys make, and it helps them to know that, hey, these guys are actually bringing us business over here. So go check them out over at, I would say miniaturemarket.com, but actually go use our affiliate link, and it's kind of a weird thing, so I can't really say what it is. Just do that.
We got to the table a game called Forges of Ravenshire, designed by Sam Stockton, published by BA Games. In Tony's terms, this is an efficiency game. I would say, Marty, that this is one of those games, and I don't want you, because I'm going to do Tony rules here, and we're just going to go with Tony rules this time, all right?
Sure. I like it.
It's efficiency. You've got to be efficient to win this game.
Isn't that most games, though?
Well, sometimes there's luck. No. There's sometimes luck.
There's luck. You're right. You're right.
So first off, don't be put off by the dice in the game, because they have a certain meaning, and don't worry about the rolls as much, because you can manipulate that. So that's a check. But so for when it's your time to play this game and you need to teach this game, look at the people and say, hey, on the first phase of this game, it's going to be called the gathering phase. And during that phase, you are going to take one of the 3 dice that are before you that you rolled, and you are going to take that dice and put it in the village. And based on that number, you will collect some sort of resources. And if you're on the left side of the village, lower number gets you some better stuff. Higher numbers, not as much. If you're on the right side of the village, the higher numbers get you more stuff. And these are basic goods. Some contain some mystic goods that you'll be collecting. I mean, you might be getting some wood, some leather. You might be getting some iron. You might pick up some steel. Who knows? You might be getting some mystical stuff, some mithril or some dragon scale. All this is going in. But why am I gathering this stuff, you ask? Because this next, after everybody's placed a die and then pulled a die, we move on to the production side.
Wait, you went over that really quick.
I know. I'll get back to it. We'll get back to it because
Okay.
Yeah. So you pull a die. I had the spiel going here too. Now you okay? Fine. We'll go back.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. So yes, after you place a die, you then pull a die, gain more resources, more goods. But then you will take that die, and based on its color, you will send it to a guild on your player board in front of you. And depending on that color, some of these guilds will provide you some mystical elements based on what they are structured to do. One is all about money, turning gold in for resources or resources to gold. And another one is just about getting basic goods. All right. You can always upgrade these guilds later as you want to. It's one of the actions you can take. But one of the other actions you can do while gathering is, hey, you're out there saying, I'm one of the best armor smiths, weaponsmiths in the village. By gosh, I will take that contract and build you a sword that can stick people. After the gathering phase, we go over to the production phase, and you will do just that. You will try to take those goods, resources, mystical items, and complete your orders so that you can earn money and increase your reputation in the village. You may not have all the charcoal you need, so you're going to have to burn some wood. So there's a conversion on your board that you can do. Or, hey, now you got some charcoal, put that with some iron. Now you can mint a steel bar. That steel is then used into the sword that's going to stick people, along with the leather for the handle. You give it to your customer. He gives you some money. He may say, hey, this is great, and gives you some reputation, or he says, it was okay, depending on how hard it was to make. That's rinse, repeat. That's it. Do it for 4 rounds. That's Forges of Ravenshire. There's a lot of detail in there, I know, but more or less. Place dice, pull dice, do production, produce a thing, get gold coins. Person with the most money at the end of the game wins.
I will say, just when you go to that production phase, you're also using the dice that you pulled from the board that are assigned to your guild. So you should have 3 dice of varying colors that you will use in the production. When you go to production, the color no longer matters at that point. Mm-hmm. So when you play a die, take a die, it's the value that matters. Where you place, you're going to take an action there. Where you pull, you're going to take an action there based on the number. Then you run that color guild. That's the only time the color matters. The number then matters again over back on the production phase because it'll have a rate. Hey, if you place a 6 here, you can convert a lot of charcoal, and stuff over to the gold bars and stuff like that. Yeah, that's a pretty good rundown. I love the fact that it's really literally, hey, I just want to be, as you said, as efficient as getting the materials that I need to complete the contracts. It's all about the money. Mm-hmm. Do I want to focus on armor? Do I want to focus on weapons? Do I want to focus on shields? Well, that might depend because there's in-game goals that are dealt out at the beginning of the game. It'll say, hey, if you're the first to have 5 completed contracts of swords that are used to stick people, guess what? Put one of your little player pieces here. You get some bonus money. Mm-hmm. Everybody else will get less money after that. So there are some goals that you try to achieve during the game as you play too.
And as your reputation builds, there's 3 levels of contracts that take up additional goods and stuff that you'll have to account for. But as the game progresses through the round, you have an engine that will help you meet those qualities. So your reputation allows you to take the higher level contracts that give you more money. One of the things, other than the guild that lets you spend money to get goods, I never felt like I was always having to battle between goods and money. I could sometimes somewhat ignore spending the money. And I think that's a lot of where the efficiency comes in is you have that ability over on the gather phase to upgrade each guild. And these will allow you, say, in the very first guild where you have the ability, you can get I think it's a talisman or dragon skin. I think that's one of them. You can then, if you want to buy that guild and enhance that guild, you can then say, oh, also this guild will give me the ability to turn 2 talisman in for maybe 2 dragon skins. All right. So when I go into in the gathering phase, place the die in that guild, I do both actions. And that can help eliminate some of the lack of getting production over in the gathering phase. Because you and I, we were struggling. We couldn't get some wood.
Correct.
Okay, that didn't come out right.
So for some reason I went on shields. Shield requires a lot of wood, and sometimes you would roll a die and it would be a high value, and wood was one of those. It's like the lower the value, the more wood that you're going to get. And then, or sometimes you took a die back because there's a certain color that you wanted, because you wanted to run a particular guild that maybe you just upgraded to take advantage of something that it's going to do for you. So there is that element. It's like, crap, I'm staring at the board. I really want to run my yellow guild, and there's no yellow dice on the board. You know, sometimes those situations did occur. Everybody's going to start out one of each dice, but as you place and pull, you're not going to have one of every dice at that point. It's going to be based on what you pulled previously. I didn't mention this either, but you can also, at the beginning of the game, you can play with the assistants. This gives special player abilities to each person, which can tweak the game and make it a little bit different too, where everybody now has a special ability that they had. Come to find out, the one I got, I didn't take advantage of very well. You guys, I think, had abilities that were probably, especially Bert. Bert got that one. What was the one? He could get 2 contracts at once.
Yeah, what kind of crap is that? I don't know what that is.
They don't say, well, it doesn't matter. He didn't win, so that's true.
I know. Mark won, but Mark's special ability was, hey, if you take my special die, then I get double. I get resources too. Well, what kind of crap is that?
He had an extra die that he could place, but when somebody else used his special die, he got something in return.
Yeah, but what did I get in advantage of that? I could use that die in any of the guilds, so it didn't matter what the color was. And that's part of that efficiency of hoping that the dice that are out there in the gathering phase will allow you to run the guild. Now, there is a way to mitigate that in the production phase, and across the top, there are various actions, that you can place that die that gives you the ability to run a particular guild if you need to, or collect certain materials that you want. There's those types of actions. And there's always the production action that you can do where you're converting wood. And basically what I found myself doing, I was always going to do one of the actions in production, which was always going to be run a guild. Then I was going to convert wood to charcoal, and then I was going to convert charcoal and iron to steel. That was what I was doing because I needed steel, because I was going to make things that stick you. That was my goal in life. So every contract that came up, that's what I was looking for. And if those contracts weren't there, then I knew I would be in trouble. So there's a way to mitigate the contracts, going out and saying, hey, let's wipe the contracts and we'll get some new ones. And hopefully that particular contract was coming up. I mean, other than, oh crap, Bert, you took that die. I really wanted that one. Not much interaction.
No, very little whatsoever. Yeah, very, very little. Maybe somebody took a contract that you wanted, but there's no way you can purposely negatively impact somebody because you really don't know what somebody else had planned, right? So it's not like the hate drafting thing where it's like, oh, I know you really need this, I'm going to take that. You just don't really know. So there is low player interaction. Right. Yes, I agree.
The other thing that can be somewhat challenging for people is that if you really need wood and suddenly there are no dice in the wood area, okay, then you know that you've got to use one of yours to go gather it, and it may be the wrong value. And you'll get 1 wood versus 3 or whatever the conversion factor is. So that was one of those things like, well, why did y'all do it? Because you can't go back and then pull the dice you just placed.
Right.
So that's one of the things that is like that. And the other thing is you can't plan ahead like, okay, I know I'm going to be placing this one and pulling this one, because when it comes your turn, hey, it may not be there.
And you talked about, well, Marty, why don't you just convert one of your dice if it's too high? Well, you can. Those talisman tokens that you get over the course of the game can modify a die by 1, and you can spend as many as you want to get it to a value that you want. I found that talisman were pretty valuable.
Yes.
Because the higher contracts, some of those required talismans in order to complete the contract. If there's any sort of nitpick that I have about the game, is that it is a longer game than what I expected it to be. I feel this is probably a 25 to 30 minute per player game. 4 players is going to push 2 hours. I think I would like this best at 3, which we never got a chance to play with 3, which is probably going to come in about 90 minutes. I feel 90 minutes for 4 rounds of this game is going to be good for me.
Right. But but you have to play with 4, so you have to put in a robot.
Yeah. So that's the thing. That's the kind of the odd thing. There's this extra autonomous thing that needs to be in play, which was kind of odd that most times when it was going from 4 to 3, you wouldn't have to do something like that. But there are special rules that to be put in play when you go down to 3.
Right. And it has to do with the picking and placing of die. I'm sure that's why that's in there, because you've got to have those options. Other than that, I can see where you can be shut out or not be able to get anything. And then it's just like, well, this sucks. What am I to do with that? For me, like you, the game went on a little long because, Tony's all about the short play. But for me, it was just, the production was amazing. The help cards were spot on. There's 6 of them that lay out in front of you that can walk you through every single step. Shoot, everybody go read the help cards. Come back to me with questions. Let's play the game. Let's give it a try. And, it'd be interesting to see if certain things come in, as in, could they expand it with different contracts? Yeah, they could, or they could change some of the resources. But, you play one time, will it set up to where it's a repetitive system of I need to upgrade this to this? I do know that it is very important to upgrade your player board, especially on the converting of charcoal. That's very important, as well as converting to the steel. You've got to get that 4-to-1 type of thing happening, or you will be behind. So you got to do that early. So you got to know how to do that. And the way you upgrade is you got to have these action tokens. So you got to play for that. So there's a lot of thinking that's going along. I'm doing a lot of thinking over here to see how I want this to fall out.
Yeah, if you've played any other sort of resource management game where I can convert this for this and there's a market for doing that and that, this is going to feel very at home. I do like it's very straightforward. Literally, I am just trying to fulfill contracts I have, get the materials through gathering and production to fulfill that contract and be the best merchant possible and make the most money. Thematically, I like that. It's not a lot of, I've seen a lot of other resource management. There's just a lot going on. And this one is just, the goal is really straightforward. Hey, I have a customer that wants something. I want to get him that something. How do I do that most efficiently?
Right. And I did like how, there was a part of the village where you could upgrade the guilds. You could place a die there and do that upgrade. Or you can spend an action token to do that. So I like that. That was well thought out, because if someone else, maybe there's 2 dice there that you really, or a dice there that you really don't want, or there may be 2 die there and you don't want to have to pull from that, you could spend an action token. So you had multiple paths to get various things accomplished. All in all, Forges of Ravenshire, it's an efficiency game for you. I'd be interested in playing it with a Tautomon, a robot guy, to see if it plays faster. But yeah, for me, I enjoyed playing it. I did stay on the table a little long.
Yeah, I did check it. It is the when you play with the Autonoma, it'll tell you, there's basically a 4th player sitting there. It tells you when to place the die, what die to place, etc., put it where. And then there's event cards, which will do production or do things on its side too. So it's like a 4th player, but it looks like the resolution for that, it will be quick. But it is the whole purpose of making sure that all the dice are on the board available for everyone. This is a game that we got to see last year, actually, at Gen Con. We sat down and played a demo of it. While we were there, we were very impressed with it. It was a big-time Kickstarter. And then they hit us up and said, hey, would you guys still want to check it out? And said, yes, we would. And I'm glad we did.
I am too. So that is Forges of Ravenshire, designed by Sam Stockton from BA Games.
All right, Tony, I blew the dust off my PlayStation 5 when a game called... Why are you looking at me like that?
Blew the dust off. I was like, off your PlayStation 3. PlayStation 5? Okay, I'm with you. All right.
I haven't played a lot of PS5.
Okay.
Yeah, it collects a lot of dust. Did you ever play Astrobot Playroom that came as the demo for the PlayStation 5 when you got it?
No, I did not.
You never tried it?
No, I did not try it. Mm-hmm.
It was a very cute game. It was kind of a tech demo to show you mainly how the DualSense controller works. Well, they came out with the full version of the game that was because that demo was so popular, and it's called just Astrobot. And it came out with reviews sitting at like 94.
Wow.
It's the highest rated game of 2024. This not an expansion. And so I said, you know what? This looks fun. I'm going to try it. So I dropped $60 on it. And let me tell you, I'm not a platformer person. I really don't get into platforms, but this is a very fun, clever game. It's funny. It's cute. The levels are really interesting. The boss fights are fun. You're trying to rescue these little astrobots, and some of these look like other characters from PlayStation games in the past, going back to PlayStation 1, like you can rescue a Ratchet, a little Astrobot, or Kratos from God of War sort of deal. So you go around these levels trying to rescue these bots. That's kind of the goal of the game. It's just a cute, clever game, and it really uses the DualSense controller like I've never seen. The speaker in the DualSense controller is used a lot. There's a lot of cute little sounds that come out of it. The adaptive triggers are used a lot. The tilting and everything is an important part of the game. It's just really cleverly done. And even though I've had a fit of rage the other night while trying to do a challenge level and had to leave the room, and Vanessa just watched me leave the room. It was like, don't talk to me. And I came out like 5 minutes later. She said, you going to try it again? Yes, I'm going to try it again. So it took me 45 minutes to finish this one challenge level.
Oh, no.
Meanwhile, Brett came home to help Travis move, and he said, I played Astrobot Day. I said, how'd you do? He said, I finished World 3. I said, what? I said, did you do all the challenge levels? He went, yeah. I said, did you do the one with a little armadillo that you roll across? He went, yeah. How long did it take you? I don't know, 3 times. I'm like, God dang it. So
these kids these days.
So anyway, I may not do any more challenge levels. Those are optional, but just the regular gameplay. It is a fun game. It's one of those that when I'm done, I may hand it to you and see if, I know you're not a big platformer guy, so I'm going to hand it to you and see. It just makes you laugh. It's just funny. If you zoom in on him, he sits there and waves hey at you and stuff on the screen. He'll knock on the TV screen, try to get your attention. It's just really cute.
Okay. All right. Well, okay. Anything that can help you break away from whatever else you're playing on the Switch. I don't know what you got going over on that console thing. Funny, going back to the Gallbladder, I asked Donna, you told her you really need to bring him a Switch. She did. Yeah. That would have been fun video. Me trying to play a Switch on the drugs I was on. There would have been no way. I said, just take it home. Thank you for bringing it. I appreciate you bringing it. I asked you to bring it. And she said she couldn't find the case that had all the games in it. So I forget which game I had in there. So I didn't even try. And then I was like, okay, there's no way I'm going to sit here and try to hold this small Switch. Plus, she forgot my readers. I can't play the Switch without my readers. It's sad.
You need everything with your readers.
I know. I'm so old. I am so old.
Oh, well. To be fair, I have contact lenses that help me with it. That's why I don't have to use them a lot. Star Wars Unlimited. I want to give a shout out to Gamegenic Binders. They have an 18-page binder that they have that I got a couple of, and Tony, I gave them to you, 2 to you. I don't know if you tried it yet, but I've found that I can get a complete set in just one binder. So I'm going to be using these Gamegenic binders, a kind of flexible and elastic strap to keep it shut. Side loading pages.
Nice.
I can easily get 3 cards into a slot on the front of the page and 3 cards on the back. And so it's going to be how I now store all my sets. And it's they're really nice. They're only like $16 retail, so they're really cheap.
Yeah, I have not gotten them. I mean, you gave them to me on Thursday night. I have not converted them over. That is on the to-do list. Unfortunately, I've been busy excavating the game closet to get ready for Mega MooseCon and the big auction that we have. So, no, that is on the to-do list this week to convert everything over away from the big heavy binder I have them in, which means now I've got to remove all the cards from the side load that I have in that binder and put them in this one. But, if it makes it easier for me to get to them, I'm all for that, and easier to transport.
And again, I just like that it's 1 book per set. So it really makes it easy. So then over time, you'll just have, a bunch of binders.
And the new set's coming out soon, isn't it?
November. They've been dropping a lot of hints. There's 2 new main things. There's Exploit and what's the other one? It starts with a C. Collaborate. Collaborate's going to say, hey, this ability works. It's going to have a collaborate then a number. Collaborate means, hey, if you have this many units on the table, you get to use this ability. Exploit, and that's going to have a number, will say, you can destroy this many number of units, and for each one you do, you can play this card for 2 resources less.
Right.
The big thing with the next set is tokens. Dirt cheap battle droids and stuff that you can deploy onto the table. Use those for the exploit ability to, remove them. So it's going to be that sort of thing going on. What else we got coming up? We've got Mega Moose coming up, right?
Mega Moose, get those games ready to go, and got some games got to play on Saturday. So everybody will be hearing about Mega MooseCon in the next episode. But other than that, keep rolling dice
and taking names. Hey y'all, thanks for listening. Make sure to tune in next episode where we talk about some hot games we played at Mega Moose Con. Plus, we talk about this year's finalists in the 2024 Toy Hall of Fame.
So, Marty, I'm in the hospital. Yes. And I'm laying there, got my shoes on the bed and my shirt's off. They gave me a little gown, but I still got everything else on, my shorts and all. Mm-hmm. You know, that old expression about making sure you got clean underwear before you go to the hospital. It wasn't my fault.
This show is part of Poderation, the nerdy podcast network. From D&D and video games through to ancient history and books of all genres, we are a group of podcasts all about things you can nerd the heck out about. We are currently looking for new podcasts to join the network. So if you know someone who wants to take their nerdy podcast to the next level, send them to poderation.com to get in touch.